All right, what's up, baby? We are back. Caution to the airwaves. Happy New Year, everybody. Hope you had a good one. Hope you had a safe one. I'm happy to be back. A couple weeks layoff here. Not a lot going on in the MMA world. Didn't really feel the need to, force a podcast that didn't need to be forced. Even though I wanted to do it as much as I wanted to do it, it's just you can't force what's not there. So, but we got some stuff to talk about today. New set. You see a couple new set props here. Shout out my mom. Got me a nice little Caution to the Airwaves coffee mug. Got myself a nice little water canteen also from my mother, my dear mother. Thank you, Mom. Maybe one day when I make it big, we can mass produce these things and sell them. Also, I'm wearing this bracelet that she apparently made. The other ones are like incredibly too big to wear. It just looks ridiculous, but I do appreciate the gesture. But this one's nice. I like this one a lot. And then the other one I use is a keychain. So Eagles colors, of course. It is Sunday. We record on Sunday. My birds, we play at 4 o'clock today against the fucking midgets. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't say that. But the Giants, no, I could say that. They're the midgets. We're going to smack y'all up today. Even though you made the playoffs, I don't want to hear this shit. All my boys tell me, we're not even playing our players and all this stuff. Well, guess what? We are, because we're going to take the NFC East division today, and you guys get to sit back and watch it. So have fun with that. I wanted to go to the game today. It's just, it's a 4 o'clock game Sunday. I got a lot going on. The people that know, I got a lot going on behind the scene. It wouldn't be that smart to do that for me. But I'll tell you what. If we go deep in the playoffs and we end up playing, if we win this game today, we of course become the 1 seed. We go on a bye, and every game would be played at home for us. And I'll tell you what, NFC Championship, if that's against the NFC East team or any team for that matter, maybe even the 49ers, my brother's team, any NFC East Championship team, I might have to drag myself out to Philly and support my boys, because I did it last time we were there against the Vikings, and that was 100% worth it. And I hope that happens again. Maybe it's the Vikings, maybe it's the 49ers, maybe it's the Giants, maybe it's the Cowboys. Either way, I might have to be there. So, sorry, I know it's an MMA podcast, but I get excited for my boys, and I'm just, it's football Sunday, baby. Last game of the year. I'm excited. I came in first place in my fantasy league. Well, if I'm gonna tell the truth, I had to split first place because of the unfortunate events of the Bills and Bengals game, which just to touch on that. Shout out to Mark Hamlin. I feel like everyone should know what happened, but he went into like some sort of cardiac arrest on the field. Real sad, scary situation. Was watching that live, and I was like, I don't know. It was terrifying. It was terrifying, honestly. But the good news is that he's apparently awake. He has and things are looking good. That's what I'll say. That things are looking good. He's aware. He's there mentally, and apparently he's in recovery mode. So I wish him a speedy recovery. I hope he is back better than ever in no time, and yeah, God bless. So, man, I'm telling you, a little rusty over here. Fucking, you take a couple weeks off, and it's like it feels like the first time all over again. But we're gonna push through, and we're gonna get this one done today, because we got some things to talk about. It is officially fight week for the UFC. Got a big one coming up this weekend. Kelvin Gastelum taking on Imavov, a very highly talented prospect on the rise. Kelvin Gastelum, we all know about Kelvin, who's becoming these days the middleweight gatekeeper. But we'll get into that one a little bit later. But it's always exciting. Finally, all these weeks off to finally be in a fight week. Looking ahead to know that Saturday upcoming is going to be some fucking fights, baby. So let's go. This past weekend, we had a big boxing event happen. Gervonta Davis took on Hector Garcia, And man, that was a great fight. Both some hard hitting dudes, both belt holders, both undefeated, and it made for a good one, I'll tell you. Some interesting stuff happened in this fight, though. Towards the end of the fight, in the second half of the fight, out of nowhere, like I think a fight broke out in the crowd or something. They said Meek Mill was involved, but I've never seen this in my life. The fight breaks out. I guess the fighters felt the commotion, and Tank starts looking over, and then Hector starts looking over, and then all of a sudden they call a pause to the fight, and then both fighters are just in the ring looking at the crowd, like a fight happening in the crowd, and the ref like gave them the timeout, was like timeout, pause, let's all just stare at this fight in the crowd and wait for it to finish or something. But I don't know. I thought it was weird. The whole time I'm like, why are you pausing the fight? Like, I was waiting for Hector to like run over and like put it on Gervonta for getting distracted like that, but then he got distracted too, and it was just like weird to see. I mean, I hate that shit. Like, you're in the crowd, like something in the crowd should never distract the athlete. And I mean, I get it. Maybe if like gunshots ring out or something, you got to protect yourself. And you know, the crowd was hostile. Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty rowdy crowd too, nonetheless. But either way, I guess you got to, I don't know. And that was the only way I kind of saw it, was like maybe, God forbid, some sort of like attack is happening on the arena. Like, you want to be aware of that. But you know, it was just a little scuffle in the crowd happening. I didn't see any punches or anything thrown. It just looked like an argument, dudes running around. But yeah, then they ejected a couple people. I think Meek Mill was one of them that's what I heard. I didn't see Meek Mill, but they were saying I think Meek Mill's involved with his crew, and then they kind of like walked them out of the arena, or out of the, you know, went to the backstage, and then they proceeded to fight, and I was like, well, that was weird. But the fight itself, man, I thought Hector was fighting a great fight. He landed so well on Gervonta, really was like stinging him with some punches. But man, I'll tell you what, I think I knew this about him because I've seen it in the past, where like in recent fights with Rolly and others, that Gervonta is a very hittable guy. He's a hittable guy. But the thing about that is, like, you know, he's taken some big shots and doesn't really like get affected by it. I've seen him, you know, maybe get staggered or like it stops him from his momentum a little bit, but nothing that really like drops him or puts him in danger. Basically what I'm saying is that dude's got a chin. He's got a chin on him. And but this is the thing about a chin, like, you know, you see it get tested almost every fight. That chin's going to start to wear over time. And I mean, who's going to be like, unless he fixes some things defensively, almost like, I guess like he's almost like following the Floyd Mayweather footsteps. Hopefully he follows it better, because Floyd in the beginning of his career would get into wars and you know, even actually, honestly though, Floyd was different though. Like, even when he was getting in some battles with some dudes and being aggressive, even then he didn't take that many shots. But all the shots you could count that Floyd took that were big were like in those earlier on fights when he wasn't as defensive as he was. But I think Gervonta needs to take on a little bit more of a defensive approach in the future and pick his shots a little better. Even though I'm saying this, but it makes for an amazing fight though. Some high entertainment, because this fight was very back and forth. Both were landing some brutal shots. Hector had a chin too until he didn't. But man, I think that's just because Gervonta just hits different, man. I mean, if he lands clean on you, there's no coming back. His ending shot, like he clipped him with a shot that you just saw, like you could just tell, like he Hector was like blinking his eyes, and he went into like, he just went into like, you know, like he wasn't there, but his body was like working for him, and somehow was able to slip some shots that could have been easily fight-ending knockout shots. But it was at the end of the round, and then the round ended. He went back to his corner, and I was thinking like, all right, maybe he could recover and he'll come back and be a little more careful. He was not able to recover. He was sitting there. I think he was saying, I can't see out of this eye, which the shot was like on the side of the head, which is even scarier. Like, you know, you get hit in the side of the head and you can't see. What does that say? And he just wasn't able to recover. You could just tell he was sitting there. It wasn't him. You know, I saw like Teddy Atlas, which, by the way, I was like agreeing with a lot of the things he was saying on Twitter that night. But until the very end, where he was saying that, oh, you know, I'm not a doctor or anything, but you know, it's either he was hurt with something that I couldn't tell, or I couldn't see what he was hurt with, or he quit. And I did not see him quitting. I saw a guy that took a shot that scrambled his brain, and he just didn't know where he was, couldn't see well, and I don't think he was quitting. I think he was just like not there. And then eventually the corner, you know, took a good look at him and said, "This fight's over. He's done." And I thought it was the right call. Congratulations to Tank Davis. Now they, you know, obviously there's a big buildup happening with him and Ryan Garcia now. And I mean, I'll tell you what, I think Ryan Garcia is in some trouble, man, because one, like I said, Tank has a chin. This is what I took away from the fight. I saw that Tank could have problems in the future because he takes a lot of shots. And with the right boxer, if he goes up in weight, which he probably will, because there's no one his size that could fuck with him, the more he goes up in weight, the more he's going to face some more dangerous guys, and the more if he's going to be there to be hit like that, he's going to face some problems in the future. But I don't think Ryan Garcia is going to be that guy that's going to give him those problems, because Ryan Garcia is not the biggest power puncher. He is very technical. He is very accurate, which, you know, could equal out to, you know, that kind of equals the power thing. But I just think that with Tank Davis, with his chin and his technical ability and his power, I give the edge to Tank in that one. And I'll tell you what, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be there watching that one, because that's gonna be exciting. And yeah, that's a big one. And hopefully nothing happens. No bullshit boxing shit happens where, you know, they talk it up, it's gonna happen, and then someone pulls out last minute. I don't know whether it's pay or fear or who knows what it is, but boxing fights fall out all the time. We've seen it with Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence, supposed to happen by now. But yeah, I mean, knock on wood, I'm not putting that energy out there anymore. That fight is gonna happen. I'm talking into existence. It's gonna happen. I'm gonna watch it, and I can't wait to see it and evaluate it when it does. So yeah, so shout out Tank Davis. Another, you know, great performance. Dude's a warrior. Dude's a savage. Fighting out of Baltimore. Fight was in D.C. in his backyard. Fun fight, man. Fun fight. But yeah. So what's going on in the MMA world these days? We had a couple big blows to the heart on recently. Obviously, I mean, it's been a couple weeks now, but we had the horrible news with Stephan Bonnar passing. Just to touch on Stephan Bonnar, I am one of those many who was really drawn in as a diehard fan because of his fight with Forrest Griffin and the Ultimate Fighter finale. You know, which I never forget. I remember exactly where I was. I was on the couch at one of my old houses, not mine, but you know, I was young. But at my mom's house on the couch, or just one of those nights you're flipping through the channels. You're like, oh yeah, Ultimate Fighter finale. Put this on, and Stephan Bonnar, Forrest Griffin, man, and they put on a fucking war for us. What a moment in time. Chuck Liddell there, had the whole crowd's going crazy in this small little area. Very close split decision, very back and forth fight. Both had their moments. I mean, this fight, that fight turned me into a fan to both of them. But definitely, at the time, not gonna lie, I was like, it made me a huge Forrest Griffin fan. I think Forrest Griffin might be like the first dude that I was like, really, really like a big fan of. Like he probably became like my favorite fighter at that time, you know. Until then, he went on and, you know, did what he did, became champion, all the things. But yeah, man, I just want to give a shout out to Stephan Bonnar, because that dude's a pioneer of the sport, pioneer for the UFC. You know, he has fought for the belt. Never got the belt, but he has fought for the belt. Dude is a warrior. I mean, yeah, I just want to say rest in peace to him. And another sad, tragic blow to the MMA community was, which I just found out yesterday, was Victoria Lee, who is the younger sister of Christian Lee, two-time champion in the ONE FC promotion, as well as a younger sister to Angela Lee, who what do I keep saying? I did this before. Angela Lee. It's hard to say Angela Lee and not say Angela Yee when you're like live in New York and the Breakfast Club is a thing. But I'm sorry, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, Angela Lee is her sister, who is also a champion for the ONE FC promotion. Victoria Lee, only 18 years old, is a fighter for the ONE FC as well. 3 siblings in one professional fight promotion, a huge one nonetheless, that's full of talent. ONE FC easily, I would say, has the second most talent in one promotion compared to the UFC. Love watching their events, especially now that they put it on Prime, Amazon Prime, easier to watch for the Americans, and they put on some fun cards, multifaceted, they do like Muay Thai fights, jiu-jitsu, grapple, they do it all. And there's just, the talent runs deep in that promotion. Talent runs deep in this family. Like I said, Christian Lee, Angela Lee, both champions in the ONE FC. Victoria Lee, new young prospect, 18 years old. It's tragic, man. 18 years old. And no cause of death release yet. Jesus, like 18. And like how are you gonna fail in life when you have that talent in your family, all from Hawaiian descent? You know, we all know the Hawaiians are straight warriors. She was, I feel very confident in saying she was one way or another going to become a champion in that promotion, and who knows what, the sky was the limit for that girl. And it's just very sad and tragic when you have someone of that talent, of that caliber, just pass away at such a young age. It's horrible. And there's nothing else to say about it other than it's just a really sad situation. And I wish my condolences to the family, to the fight community. But moving on, like I said, we do have a UFC card this weekend. You mind pulling up the fight card? Oh yeah, baby. Oh god damn. My UFC fans out there, that struggle at the end of the year when there's just like, you get 1 week off, I'm pissed off about it during the year. You give me 2 weeks off, I'm a mess. 3-4 weeks, I just try to, like, thank God for football, because I don't know what I would do if there was like no sports on during that time. I might start watching freaking ice skating or something. I don't know. I don't know. Or darts, because apparently darts is blowing up now. There's something happened in darts recently where now it's like everyone's just going crazy over darts. But no longer we have to worry about that, because we have a big UFC card. Imavov taking on Gastelum. Woo! As I mentioned in the beginning, Kelvin Gastelum, veteran of the middleweight division, veteran of the sport, veteran of the UFC. Imavov, the new young Nasruddin Imavov, the new young prospect who has just been on a tear lately. Look at this, Imavov coming in as a favorite, -200. Imavov is, but click them because I know Imavov's a much taller fighter than Kelvin. 6'3" to 5'9". Holy shit! What is that going to look like in the ring? This is all the things I've been thinking leading up to this. But so shout out my boy Manny. I'm gonna have Manny back on the podcast soon. He was supposed to do it today. I don't know what happened, but we were talking about this and just saying how Kelvin Gastelum, he should be a welterweight. Let's be honest. He's totally good enough to be a middleweight. For God's sake, he fought Israel Adesanya for the belt, and it was one of the most entertaining back and forth close fights that we've seen Israel Adesanya in. And And I mean, look at that. Was a huge height difference in that one too. I think Izzy might be 6'4". So, and Kelvin held his own, and I mean, did more than hold his own. It was 2-2 going into the last round, and then Izzy had the famous moment, the I'm prepared to die, all that stuff, came in like a beast and just got it done. But we all know Kelvin. We all know he's a beast, and my thing is though, I just think he's undersized in this one. I think Imavov is just one of these new young talents who has it all. He's got enough grappling to hold himself down, and he's a striker too. He's a great striker, and that's all Kelvin is. Kelvin's not much of a grappler. He doesn't really engage in any grappling. It's going to be very interesting. What's the reach on that? One more down, 75 to 71 and a half. It's significant, but for that height difference, you would think it was more. So I'll tell you what. The reach difference is not big enough where I would say where it's that big a deal is what I'm trying to say. I think Kelvin can hold his own in the striking department with mostly anybody. I mean, the dude has a chin of granite. I mean, all Mexicans do. I mean, if you were born Mexican, you were just born with a granite chin, and God bless you for that. Yeah, shoot. I'm just trying to think right now, like if I were to make a pick on this, like how I would do it. Man. All right. Well, I'm just gonna go with what my guts tell me. Something just tells me that, like I said, I just don't think Kelvin should. I think Kelvin. I would like to see Kelvin restructure his way of being, his diet, and just drop down to a motivated 170 and just run shit at 170. But he's not doing that. He's staying at middleweight, and now he's fighting people like Nasruddin Imavov, and I think he's running into a bit of trouble here. And I'm gonna say Imavov gets it done. I don't have a prediction on how, but I just think Imavov gets it done. What's this card looking like? We got Dan Ige taking on Damon Jackson. Damon Jackson, fun guy to watch as of late. I think he had a tragic loss in his family. His brother passed away, and that last fight he put on a performance that was so awesome to watch. Taking on Dan Ige, it's pretty close odds too, close to even. I gotta say, I mean, as of Damon Jackson, as of late, it's hard not to go with him. I mean, shoot, Damon Jackson, both same reach, but yet 4-inch height difference. Damon Jackson, obviously the taller fighter, but the same reach. Interesting. I mean, 50K Ige, they don't call him that for no reason. My man got freaking power in those hands. He could put you out. That's a tough one to call too. Excuse me. Because Damon Jackson does tend to be a pretty hittable guy, and like if you're hittable and you're Dan Ige, I mean that's a good chance to land that knockout shot. But I still think Jackson is just fighting different these days. I think he's motivated. I think Ige has been on a slide. He's lost like his last 3 fights in a row. I think he was even like cut or talked about being cut from the UFC. I could have sworn I saw he was cut, but that's why it's interesting to see that he's still here. But I mean, Jesus Christ. Yeah. Let's see what else we got going here. But as far as that one goes, I'm gonna say Damon Jackson. Just with everything going on with him, I could just tell he's like off his last fight. He just has a different energy about him. The loss of his brother has really affected him, but not just that. Even before the loss of his brother, he was already like starting to pick up momentum and just become like coming into his own. And for that reason, I just think Damon Jackson, just off heart and mental, I'm gonna go with Damon Jackson. Soriano's here. I mean, Soriano taking on Raman Kopilov. I mean, just off bat, I always got to go Soriano. I believe he is also a Hawaiian with some coconut bombs for hands. Granite chin. But actually, I don't know. Well, is he is the favorite, right? Yeah. You know, Kopylov, his name wasn't ringing a bell, but now that I'm looking at him, I've definitely remember this dude. I don't know. That's a hard one to call. Both coming off of wins. Shoot, that's a hard one to call. What is there odds on that one? Oh yes, Soriano minus 170 favorite, plus 145 for Kopylov. I'll tell you what, odds alone make me like Kopylov. Just because he's an underdog. I mean, he's one of these guys where I don't think you're going to see him too often as an underdog. But Soriano, I mean, the dude, he's been looking better and better every fight. Like I said, has knockout power. Russians do tend to have a chin as well. Very tough, durable people. I mean, similar size. Kopylov even an inch taller. Like I said, I'm gonna go Kopylov. I was like almost dead set on Soriano until I saw Kopylov and I remembered this dude and I know he's a bigger reach too. Oh man, I don't know. That could go either way. It's either Soriano by knockout or Kopylov just by win of anyway. I think Soriano would have to land the big shot. Otherwise it could be a long night for him. So yeah, I'm sticking with my pick as an underdog with Kopylov on that one. All right, scroll down to the next. Ketlen Vieira back taking on Raquel Pennington. Why do I feel like they've fought already? I guess not, but all right. So this is a true test for Ketlen Vieira. I'm assuming now if Ketlen Vieira, this is one of those fights. This is a cool fight because Raquel Pennington, battle tested, has fought the who's who, has beat a lot of the who's who. Ketlen Vieira has been on a bit of a tear, has looked great as of late. Number 2 ranked. This is one of those fights now where if Ketlen Vieira wins this fight, I'm sure that she'll get a fight against Amanda Nunes. Maybe that's what they're waiting for because Amanda Nunes, they're not saying nothing with Juliana Pena. Even though Juliana's been campaigning for that trilogy fight, nothing has been said about that. And I think Ketlen Vieira is the only name really that's close and is she's a huge girl too. I think she would be bigger than Amanda Nunes for sure. I mean, I don't know too many girls bigger than Ketlen Vieira. So if she wins this one, and it's especially if it's a stoppage or something, I think that they're going to give her the title fight against Amanda Nunes next. And how fun would that be? 2 big Brazilian girls that are scary and just hold power. And I mean, I still would favor Amanda Nunes, but either way, that matchup just sounds fun. I mean, yeah. So I mean, we'll see. Raquel Pennington, no pushover. So, I think this is the UFC's way of saying, listen, you beat Raquel, you got it. You got the title fight. So we shall see. Next one, bantamweight, Umar Nurmagomedov back in action, taking on Raoni Barcelos. Good fight. Barcelos, veteran, solid, but Umar just has the pedigree, the Dagestani, obviously cousin of Khabib Nurmagomedov, which, by the way, I mean, which I have in the notes, but I don't know. I don't think Khabib is going to be in his corner because apparently Khabib. All right, so this is I screenshot this picture. I'm just going to quote Khabib's post. It says, concluding the year, this his broken English, so work with me here. The year certainly turned out to be a very busy and successful one. I'm sure he meant to say. Take care of yourself, brothers. I hope my decision is only for the best. A big hug to you all. Thank you. You were a big reason for my success in sports. So that sounds to me like he's stepping away from the sport completely, even as a coach, because obviously he's been retired as a fighter. So do we have no more Khabib in the corner? I mean, I don't think a lot of these fighters like necessarily need him to be successful. And I'm sure Khabib will be there for a lot of their training, a lot of their some advice going into the fights. And I think that's all that's going to be necessary. But I think what Khabib's saying that he's just not going to be present in the corners anymore. So with that being said, he's basically still like coaching these guys on the off time, giving them advice, probably working out with them. So I'm definitely saying Umar Nurmagomedov in this one. No odds in this one. But do you want to pull up DraftKings just to have on the side? Just because when there's no odds in the UFC, usually they'll have it. You don't have to sign in, but just go to down. Oh, there you go. Nice. Now scroll down. Right there. Umar, yeah, minus 610. Huge favorite. Yeah, I just don't see Umar losing this one. Maybe if you were thinking about taking this fight, maybe I would go with like by submission or by knockout. Click Umar Nurmagomedov. I just want to see. Oh no! Click the fight above it, like the title. Yeah. Go down. Oh well, there's nothing really up yet. They don't even have like by decision or any of the props, but don't worry about it. Click back and go back to the UFC. So yeah, I mean that's what kicks off the main card. Umar Nurmagomedov. I mean, it's a fun card. That's a fun card. You can't complain with this main card. Now let's see. Let's just skim the prelims. See if there's anything going on here. Abdul Razak Alassane back in action. I don't know. I'm not familiar with Claudio Ribeiro. Maybe a Contender Series guy. It doesn't even have a picture on the website. But Abdul Razak Alassane is definitely a big prospect coming up. Fighting out of Africa, another African fighter. Nice. All right, scroll down. All right, so we got a lot of young prospects coming in the prelims. But either way, fun main card. I'm sure, Jimmy Flick back in action, coming out of retirement apparently. UFC giving him another shot, even though he was coming off a win, and I don't know why he decided to he's like, I'm retiring, and then comes back. I'm not sure really what that's about, but taking on Charles Jourdain, that's a great fight. I'm sorry, not Charles Jourdain, Charles Johnson. Good fight. Also, Charles Johnson's guy said that kind of resembles Bobby Green. Scroll down. Oh yeah, Sahara Eubanks taking on Priscilla Cojeda, who I'm surprised isn't. What do you call it? Which I'm surprised is still on the roster after she was trying to gouge a girl's eyes, trying to get out of a submission, just doing that cheap shit. When you go that far to get out of something, it's really dirty to the point where it's very frowned upon. Where usually, whatever promotion you're working with, they usually cut you after something like that. But I guess they just like her spirit, her warrior spirit. She does bring the heat, so that'll be a fun one to start the night. When does this start? It's a 7:00 main card. Prelims when? Wait, hold on. Go back up. 7:00 main card. Usually 4:00 prelims. I'll say. Nice early card. Not too late. Boxing, get with the program. This fucking 2 a.m. shit's gotta stop. I can't be fucking staying up to watch my favorite fighters fight at 2 a.m. every time, and then there's no shot of finding the fight the next day either. Well, some people would probably say no, but it's annoying. It's annoying. I want to watch it live. I want to be excited about it. I don't want to watch it the next day. Yeah, so what else we got? I mean, hit the notes real quick. Scroll down. Yeah, we got Jake Paul signing with the PFL. How do we feel about this one? Is he going to make his MMA debut? Apparently. He's calling out Nate Diaz. Typical Nate Diaz, way past his prime. Looked to be extra extra past his prime in his last fight with Tony Ferguson, even though he won it. It's just like Jake Paul. I mean, God bless him. I mean, he's staying relevant. He's picking the fights that make the most sense, that are going to be against big names, that are past their prime, people that are diehard fans of these people. For instance, like Anderson Silva. Not so much Tyron Woodley. Tyron Woodley is the one I give him mad respect for, even though Tyron Woodley also passed his prime, coming off like 5 losses in a row. But still, former champion, was in shape, was still young enough to be, challenging, which I still think that was Jake Paul's best fight. A lot of people say Anderson Silva. I think a 48-year-old Anderson Silva is not, like, in boxing, not even in his sport, is not the, like, most impressive thing in the world. Even though he held his own, Anderson Silva. But now Jake Paul calling out Nate Diaz. I hate the fight. I don't care to see him fight Nate Diaz. I do like that Anthony Pettis put out there in a tweet saying that he would introduce him to MMA. Now, Anthony Pettis to me sounds more like a challenging, fair fight, especially for his introduction into MMA. Anthony Pettis probably past his prime as well, definitely past his prime, but still young enough, still has like that fire, that like that's interesting to me. Like that's an interesting matchup to me. Way small, both guys smaller than Jake Paul. Like they both fought at 155. Have fought at 170. Jake Paul is a 200-pounder that usually fights 190, 185, let's say even. So I don't know. What weight class would that be at? Anything over 170 against Nate Diaz would just be probably like embarrassing. I still think Nate would probably choke him out. But either way, I just don't care to see that fight. I just think it's like, I think the Anthony Pettis one makes more sense. He has the name. He's still young enough to, it just looks better like on camera, like visually, to see someone that like to see like a good matchup. Like I don't want to see old Nate Diaz with a pudgy belly out there like walking around avoiding tired, like flipping off Jake Paul. I don't care to see that. But he knows what he's doing. He's calling out the people that are gonna get him and get him most paid and give him the highest probability of winning the fight. So, I mean, I don't know. It is what it is. But it was just had to mention it. Jake Paul signing with the PFL. I just saw this morning. Rafael Fiziev, Justin Gaethje, they're trying to make this fight for March 5th, UFC 285 in March. That's the fight to make, UFC. Get it done. Rafael Fiziev versus Justin Gaethje. That is straight violence right there. That is straight entertainment right there. And I'll tell you what, Rafael Fiziev, if he could beat Justin Gaethje, that puts him right there for a title fight. Shit, I like that. I like that a lot. But we won't get too deep into that one yet. We'll wait for that fight to be made, and then we could break that down a little bit more. I just want to touch one more on just because it was news. The whole Dana White thing, getting like, well, I don't know if it was New Year's Eve or whatever, but they were like him and his wife drunk at a club. His wife slaps him, and then he kind of gives her a little slap back, and now the it's like I don't even know where to start on it, but I guess a lot of people are defending him. And a lot of people are coming down on him heavily. My stance on the whole thing is, I'll start by saying that first off, you slap your wife back. I don't care if your wife slaps you or not. You can't slap your wife. You just can't put your hands on your wife in that fashion. I mean, what you could hold her, you could subdue her, but I mean, that's just how I see it. I just feel like in those situations, how do you not just like either walk away or just like hold them, not grab and yoke them up, but just a simple like hold, especially when you're Dana White. This guy looks like he's on TRT. You should be able to like hold your wife and say calm down without having to slap her or whatever. But you know, a lot of these things I just talk about so much, and then like when I talk about it here, I gotta just stop talking so much about shit in person and then coming on here and doing it, because I just feel like this shit has just been run dry, and I don't know. I don't even care to really talk about it anymore, because I just feel like I've talked about it so much already. But I just want to, I guess, you know, this is where it matters most anyway. So my standpoint on the thing is just, yeah, you fucked up, Dana. You're an idiot. You don't fucking hit a girl at all. I don't care if she hits you or not. It's your wife. You're in a club. Of course there's cameras out. And that's not the point. You just don't do it. And props to him for, you know, taking it and like, he's apologized. He's making no excuses. He knows he fucked up. And I guess that's the only credit I can really give him. But other than that, like, I just think it was a incredibly dumb move. It was just stupid as fuck. I don't know what else to say about it. It's just like, you're an idiot, Dana. That's all I'll say. You don't fucking hit your wife. You don't put your hands on a girl in that way in any way. And, you know, whatever you got coming to you, I guess you really deserve it, because you've been around for long enough to know that, you know, you just this is like death to your career. So do I think he should get the fucking death penalty for it? No. But if it happens, not like literally death penalty, but your like professional death penalty, if it happens, I wouldn't be surprised, is what I'm saying. But yeah, that's all I'll say about it. I'll just say you're an idiot and don't do that. If you're anyone out there, don't do that. Yeah. I feel like there was something else. No, I guess that's it. Yeah. All right, folks. It's good to be back. Sorry, it's kind of like a little bit of I'm still getting things going. I'm rusty right now. So we're gonna try to get more guests this year. I said one of the goals I want for this year, I want to get a fighter on here. I would like to talk to someone that's, you know, any professional fighter. That's one of the goals, to get a professional fighter on this year. I'm gonna come more prepared. This is the, you know, first one back for the year. A little slow, a little rusty, but it'll get better, I promise. Got to start somewhere. And yep, fly Eagles fly. Let's get the NFC East, and can't wait to see what happens this weekend with these fights, and I can't wait to talk about it next week on the pod. So yeah, till then, peace.